Anyway, I'm Paul Gibbs behind the camera, so who am I talking to?
You're talking to Andrew Kleister.
Okay, and Andrew, you're running a business which is basically repairing old radios and that sort of thing.
I like to call myself a vintage audio specialist.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, that's ideal. Okay, so what we're going to do, we'll have a quick look around the room at the different sort of stuff that you've got. Now, the one that you've got...
Chaos area.
No, it's brilliant. Doesn't matter. So the one that you're restoring at the moment down here, this you call it a gramophone these days.
This is a radiogram.
Radiogram,
made by Decca in late 1959, and the case was constructed in early 1960.
Yeah.
It's full range stereo using 2 mono amplifiers side by
Yeah,
side.
and this would have been a valve one, wouldn't it?
It's still a valve one. It's been fully restored to original spec.
Oh, I see. So you've actually sourced the valves.
It still has its original valves in.
And made it go. Okay,
yes, absolutely.
So look, so this side of the room really is your workbench.
Absolutely.
And all your solder and wires and that sort. I mean, is it difficult to source the materials these days?
Rarely. I learned everything from my grandfather. He basically said if you can't buy something to replace something with, either make it or take it from a donor.
Oh, what? Take another set. If you get 2 pieces, just take one.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we look round behind us then in that case, well, I think we'll start from the oldest stuff. We'll just whiz round the room. And you were showing me earlier on, you were showing me this marvellous wind-up gramophone, which I really liked. And so here we go, a nice wind-up set, really small. So if you put your hand near the handle, we'll be able to compare the size of it as to what it is. That's it. And so you're saying that will play?
That will play a full size 78. But you have to put 2 on at once to save the record from toppling off with the weight of the tone arm. Yeah,
because the thing's got such a small turntable, presumably,
yes,
that
absolutely.
it just.
It was originally designed for children to play nursery rhymes on.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Really? But you reckon the sound quality's as good as the other ones?
Yeah, not too bad at all. It's certainly not as good as the others, but it's not too bad considering its size.
Okay. Now this one here on the... I can actually remember, the one left it.
Yes.
I can remember putting needles in the upright box thing that we had. That was probably about as tall as I was at the time. You had a lift-up lid on top of it.
That's actually an electrical gramophone.
Yes.
And that will plumb into the back of a valve radio.
Oh, right.
A lot of valve radios have a gram option.
Yeah, but you still had to change needles in it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that we kept on reusing the same needles.
Yeah.
And probably
it sounded funny.
Did the records of power no good, more
Absolutely.
than likely. Okay, so let's move on to this one here. What's special about this 1920... Lenora?
A Nyrona.
Nyrona.
Now, the reason why this is so special is because this company specialised in novelty gramophones for children.
Yeah.
Now, the novelty sort of tin plate ones are 2 a penny. They still hold their value, but there's plenty of them around. Where the more traditional shapes are very, very rare. And this is an oak-cased one. And it's kind of a case of find another one kind of thing. It's a very, very rare piece. Very rare. The market's changed quite a lot recently. Maybe kind of like within the last 10 years, this may well have been at a value of up to about £1,000.
Good grief.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
The gramophone market's dropped.
Yeah, well, because people are moving on to the next generation of electronics, aren't they? People are getting back in now. They're buying the old Sinclair computers and that sort of thing, aren't they? Absolutely. So what we're looking at down here then?
Down here, this is an Alba gramophone, a furniture unit.
Yeah.
And that was purchased in Harrods in 1928.
Oh, for Harrods, brilliant.
Yes, absolutely.
Really good. So, I mean, you probably won't know, but I mean, what would the price in Harrods have been for it in those days?
That is one thing I haven't actually researched, to be honest.
Yes.
You would ask me something I haven't researched.
Well, yeah, I always ask difficult questions. I help myself.
My Decca gramophone was made in 1926 at home, and that's a ballroom gramophone. So it measures about 3 foot long by about 2 foot in depth.
Yes.
That was designed for a ballroom, and that cost nearly £30 in 1926.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? The way things have changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And of course, that's a very these days that £30 would be worth one hell of a lot more, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
Can you give us a lift up on the lid on that one there to tell us something about that?
This is actually one that I sold about 2 years ago to a client.
Yes.
And it's been in daily use since, and the spring unfortunately has broken last week.
Right.
So it's been returned for a bit of TLC.
Yeah. Can you get replacement springs, or
absolutely,
do you have to?
Yes, absolutely. I actually ordered them in from Germany. There's a factory, a small factory in Germany that sort of makes them to order.
Oh, extraordinary!
They're rather expensive, but the quality's very good.
Yeah.
And that's an original 1925, and it's had no restoration. It's in original order.
And until the spring broke, it just wound up and worked perfectly.
Absolutely, yeah. Minimal servicing. It's had quite a busy life. You'll see from like this a bit moth-eaten and a little bit rusty around the edges, but that's the charm of it, I think.
Now going up to this one here, what's that, Apollo? It's got an Apollo head on it. Is the unit itself called Apollo?
It's not. No, this would be a German factory gramophone, so it would have been mass-produced in Germany. Now, they would have been more available in the American market, so they would have been sort of exported to the US. They would have been exported in pieces, and then shops and retailers would have built them up in different size cases, however they chose or to order. So you always find them with different brand sound boxes on. The person that constructed this obviously had good taste, because it's an Apollo sound box in it, and we think that's been in there since day dot.
Amazing. I like the way it has folding turntables.
Absolutely, this completely comes off, and these fold up like so.
Yes.
And just tuck into there.
Oh, I see. You actually remove it. Yes,
yeah, and the tone arm does the same and also goes in there, so you can close the lid and bring it on a picnic.
Yes. Now this all transistor little one here, I used to have one similar to that.
Yes, absolutely.
Really, sort of when they first came out. I think it was a 21st birthday present. I think when I had it.
They sound surprisingly good, especially the Philips ones. Yeah. They were very good at making small, very effective amplifiers. Other companies didn't do so well. The Bush one that's just down here.
Yeah.
That basically they had trouble.
Oh, battery operated.
Absolutely.
So was that a lead acid battery in that?
No, it actually takes D cell batteries.
Oh, I see. Yes.
It was made in the same year as the D cell batteries were actually launched.
Oh, right.
But
now the D cell ones, they were about sort of like size of a 50p piece.
Absolutely.
I got you. And how many of those would they have in there?
6.
Yeah, I used to have 6 in my old Philips portable tape recorder. Yeah. So moving along here, this Alba is what I would have said. Well, that's one of the old Dansets.
Yeah.
Which was the
Danset's actually a brand.
Yes.
Danset actually came from the Plusogram. I don't know if you've heard of a brand called Plusogram.
No, I haven't come across that. No.
Danset actually used to be Plusogram.
Oh, I see.
And they changed their sort of model name over to their trading name.
Yes, it was like more of a 60s sounding name, isn't it? Danset was it?
Absolutely.
And on the left here we have another lovely portable, well, semi-portable wind-up.
Yes, that's a sort of World War I period Celeste trench gramophone.
Yes.
I have no proof whatsoever, but the chap that I'm selling it for is only the third owner, and apparently it did go away to war.
Oh, good grief.
And did return unharmed.
Amazing.
It had quite a lot of restoration about 2 years ago.
Entertainment for the troops.
Absolutely, yes.
So, here is the Danset. We've actually found.
That's a Danset Viva.
We found the Danset. Brilliant. And still working. Got it in working order now, or do you have to do much on it to make it work?
110% original, including original electrical components.
Yeah.
It's had very, very little use over time, and always kept in the best of conditions. And it was one of their only units that had an earth connection as standard, so it puts a lot less stress on the electrical components in the amplifier.
Oh, that's interesting.
It sounds
now,
lovely.
I like the amplifier system on this one here, with the horn going into that disc at the back.
Yeah, this is what you call a deflection horn.
Yes.
So basically it works by resonating the sound against the tin plate sheet inside the lid.
Yes.
And then it's sent back out to you.
Yes. So
if the horn was facing
really
us,
like an old-fashioned tannoy horn in a sense, but inverted in a way. Yeah.
If the horn was facing us, the volume would be very, very small.
Oh right, I see. So it really makes a difference.
Yes, being thrown into the concave object like that, it then sort of brings it back out and amplifies it very well. Okay,
so we've now got a classic Grundig, which presumably is it 3-speed or 2-speed?
No, that's a 2-speed one.
Yeah, so that's the one on 7/8 or 3 to 7.
Both. It is both.
What, one on 7/8 and 3 1/3?
No, other way round. Sorry. Yeah,
so it's 3 1/3 and 7 and.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Yes.
The reason why I always stock these is because that particular model is very simple to use. You'll know yourself from having one before.
Yes.
Some of them can be a bit overcomplicated, but I don't know if you want to sort of zoom in closer to the control.
Yeah.
It is so simple to use.
Straightforward on record sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet, because the sad thing is that these days you can do it all on your mobile phone, can't you?
You can.
Which is such a pity, really. And so we move down to this one here, which is a nice wooden veneered. What have we got there?
That is a Pi black box, the iconic black box. Pi went through a period, Pi of Cambridge, of their sort of top of the range audio products had a black vinyl covered transformer fitted, and they made very, very, very fine amplifiers for their black box range. And that particular unit you're looking at now was only the second series of black box products that were available from Pi.
Oh, fascinating.
Just
and
before
round
moved over to stereo.
one more, oh, nice little crown radio. Now, I used to have a thing called an Aero Radio, which I took to school in my top pocket, which had the smallest of the 9.5, the 9-volt batteries, you know, with the terminal one each end.
Yes.
And they stopped manufacturing that.
Yes.
They were like push-button terminals on it.
It was Ever Ready, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah. And so the last one we're going to look at now is this Fidelity, is it?
Yeah, that's a Fidelity UA16.
Yeah.
They also do a UA27, exactly the same case, and they just have a slightly different amplifier in them.
Okay, gotcha. And so, with all the equipment that you've got down here, then on the table, you quite happily work
my chaos area.
Your chaos areas. You quite happily work your way through all this stuff,
Absolutely.
and make it function. So, if I had a nice Akai reel-to-reel recorder that I wanted to get repaired, what's the sort of workload situation? How long before you do it?
I have a waiting list until September just for quotes at the moment.
That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the way to run a business.
If I could work quicker, I'd be a very rich man.
Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. It was lovely to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.